Elon Musk once slept on his friend's couch because he couldn't afford rent. His companies were 2 weeks from bankruptcy, both of them, at the same time. Walt Disney got fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, then went broke, 3 times. And Jay-Z? Turned down by every single record label. 0 deals, 0 money, 0 believers. These men lost everything, multiple times, and then they got richer than before. So here's the question nobody's actually answering. Why do some people bounce back and build more, while others lose once and never recover? The answer isn't hustle, it's not luck, and it's definitely not who you know. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes, because what I'm about to show you changes the way you think about money forever. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania studied over 3,000 people who experienced major financial collapse, bankruptcy, job loss, business failure. And they found something strange. Within 5 years, roughly 27% had recovered to their previous income level. Fine, expected. But 8%, about 240 people, had actually exceeded it. By a lot, some by 10x. Same disaster, same starting conditions after the loss, completely different outcomes. So what separated the 8% from everyone else? It wasn't connections, it wasn't education level, it wasn't even age. It was something happening in here. Psychologist Carol Dweck calls it the difference between a fixed identity and a fluid one. But I want to go deeper than that, because there's a layer beneath mindset that almost nobody talks about, and it has to do with how these people define themselves in relation to money. The people who lost everything and rebuilt? They never saw the money as them. They saw it as a result, a score, something that came from who they were, not something that made them who they were. The ones who never recovered? They had it backwards. When the money left, they felt like they left. Here's something most finance content will never tell you. Your relationship with money is built before you're 10 years old. By the time you reach adulthood, you've already decided, unconsciously, whether you're the kind of person who has money or the kind of person who gets money and then loses it. Psychologists call this your money blueprint, and it operates like background software. You can't see it, but it's running your decisions every single day. People who grow up watching money cause stress, fights, silence at the dinner table, that specific tension when a bill arrives, they wire their nervous system to associate wealth with danger. So unconsciously, their brain protects them from it. They self-sabotage, not because they're stupid, because their brain thinks money is a threat. And here's where it gets interesting. The people who rebuild after losing everything, many of them describe a moment after the loss where something broke open in them. Not broke down, broke open. The loss dismantled the blueprint. And in the gap, the ruins of everything they thought they were, they had a choice. Pick up the old story or write a new one. The 8% wrote a new one. This idea that wealth is generated from the inside out isn't new. It's ancient. The Stoics had a word, hegemonikon, the ruling faculty, the internal pilot that governs your actions regardless of what's happening outside. Marcus Aurelius lost battles, lost family, faced plagues that killed millions. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The Egyptians believed in a concept called ma'at, cosmic balance. They taught that when you give, you receive, not as a spiritual platitude, as a law of nature. The merchants who dominated the ancient Silk Road built their fortunes on this principle. Give value first, and abundance follows. The Medici family in Florence ran the most powerful bank in the world for 3 generations. When they faced ruin, and they faced it multiple times, they didn't panic. They studied the situation, reorganized, and rebuilt. Their secret? They never believed a loss was permanent. They believed it was information. Every ancient wealth tradition shares this thread. Loss is a teacher. The lesson is, who are you without the money? The answer to that question determines whether you get it back. Neuroscience has a term for this, post-traumatic growth. We've heard of post-traumatic stress, but research by psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun found that a significant number of people who experience major loss don't just recover, they grow. New priorities, stronger relationships, deeper sense of purpose, and often, more creativity and risk tolerance than before. Why? Because a crisis forces the brain to reorganize. Old habits stop working. Old thought patterns fail. The brain, forced to adapt, builds new pathways, new connections. Think of it like a forest fire, devastating in the short term, but the ash becomes fertilizer. The weak trees clear out, and what grows back? Grows back stronger. The people who bounce back aren't lucky. Their brains literally change during the loss, if they let them. The ones who don't recover? They spend their energy trying to go back to what was. They fight the fire instead of letting it burn. I've looked at dozens of people who lost it all and rebuilt. Entrepreneurs, investors, athletes turned business owners. And three things show up every single time. Number one, they move fast. Not recklessly, but they don't freeze. Within weeks of the loss, they're already doing something. Anything. A meeting. A call. A new project. Motion before clarity. Because action is what breaks the spiral. Number two, they change their reference group. This one is underrated. After a financial collapse, most people withdraw. They shrink their world. The ones who rebuild? They immediately seek out people who've been where they are and came out the other side. Why? Because your brain needs proof, not theory. Proof. Someone in the room who rebuilt tells your subconscious, this is possible. Number three, they reframe the story within 90 days. Not fake positivity, real reframing. They find the sentence that makes the loss make sense, in a way that gives them power instead of taking it. I lost the company, but I learned what I'm actually good at. I lost the money, but I found the people I can trust. The story they tell about the loss shapes the story they live going forward. So here's the truth. The people who keep getting rich after losing everything aren't luckier than you. They aren't smarter. They don't have secret connections or magic timing. They figured out, usually the hard way, that money flows toward identity, toward belief, toward whoever you decide to be when there's nothing left. The loss strips everything down, and what's left is the only thing that was ever generating the wealth in the first place. You. If this hit different for you, subscribe. Because next week, we're going deep on the exact psychological patterns that keep intelligent people financially stuck, and the specific way to break them. It's one of the most important videos we'll ever make. See you there.